Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06 on this Super Wednesday in your nation's capital, breaking down the events of last night. But honestly, not nearly. Trump winning last night is not the big story. The big story is Nikki Haley conceding defeat this morning.
Yeah.
She'll be making that speech a little later in Charleston, her home state of South Carolina. Coming up to discuss all those things and more at 7:35, Bethany Mandel running for Montgomery County School Board. 8:05, Rich Masters, who's leading the effort to recall Charles Allen. And then at 8:35, Hogan Gidley, former White House spokesperson, who can sort of talk about what happens next here with the Trump campaign, merging operations with the RNC and going forward as the presumptive nominee. And boy, things are going to start moving real fast.
Yeah.
I am Larry O'Connor. She is Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
And actually, we can ask this person, too, the spokesperson, the national spokesperson of the Republican National Committee, Madison Gesiotto, or is it Gesiotto? I'm so sorry, Ms. Gilbert. Madison Gilbert with that Gesiotto in there. I just want to get it right. Jesse or Gessie?
Gesiotto. Good to be with you guys this morning.
All right. I'm sorry about that. That's big news here about Nikki Haley deciding to call it quits a little later this morning. What does that mean in terms of Trump becoming the official presumptive nominee? Does that not happen until the actual delegate count is there to 1,215, or what's the plan going forward here?
I think that should happen shortly after he becomes the only person who's very obviously close to that number. So in the coming days, I would assume we would be closer to making that announcement.
Okay. And then, and what is the current status? Sorry, I just want to get some spring cleaning out of the way here, because there have been some, announcements there about the chairwoman and the future. What's the timetable on Ronna Romney McDaniel officially vacating that office, and what the next steps are to bring in a new chairperson?
Yeah, so we're just a couple of days away, actually. So she announced that she will be leaving. That is the end of this week, and there will be an election held at the end of this week as well. So we'll have a new chairperson and a new vice chair and all of that by the weekend.
All right. So now that means your job now gets a little bit more clarified here with regard to the presidential election, but also all of those important down-ticket races, the Senate and the House. Tonight's State of the Union speech from Joe Biden, tell us through a Republican's eyes what you're looking for and what message you expect to hear from the president as he is underwater in the polls right now.
Well, I'm not really sure what the president can say good about what he's done. I think what's so stunning about this administration, and I talk about this all the time, is, you look back at so many presidential administrations, whether it be the Obama administration, the Bush administration. People always were very unhappy with the presidential administration, a lot of times on one, maybe two issues, right? It could be the Iraq War. It could be the economy. Under this administration, almost any American you talk to and you look at the polling numbers that reflect this, they're unhappy on almost every single issue, and they don't trust this administration on any of the issues, whether that be the economy, whether it be the southern border and immigration, whether it be foreign policy. People are fed up with the Biden administration. After 3 years, things have only gotten worse and worse and worse on every single one of them. So I think he's going to talk tonight. I anticipate he'll talk in the State of the Union about finishing the job, needing 4 more years, but we can't allow him to finish the job. He's already destroyed enough as it is. We have to turn things around in a different direction. You look at even Democrats who are very disenfranchised by not only Biden, but the direction of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I wanted to pivot over and ask you about, there's sort of a debate within the RNC, or maybe not, about the ability of the RNC to pay Trump's legal bills. I know there was a resolution introduced saying that they would not pay for Trump's legal bill, and that was defeated, and is in fact, as Haley Barbour said, it's sort of dead. Can you give us a little insight into that and sort of how RNC members feel about possibly having to be on the hook for Trump's significant, and not his fault, but his significant legal bills?
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about this, especially over the past week. As of now, that's not something that has been discussed internally because we're getting ready to have that election, as you know, later this week. So once that happens, that may come back up again and be something that has to be discussed. But as of now, there are no different plans on that. In regards to what we've been focused on with our legal spending, we've been very focused on the Election Integrity Department. We opened that department after the 2020 election. We listened to the concerns of many people, looked around the country at areas we could make a difference in protecting the vote. Obviously, legally is one of those big ways. A lot of the things that changed in the states prior to 2020 was done right under people's noses on the state level, and a lot of people didn't even know that. Right. So we're looking at areas where we think maybe election laws are being abused or things are, trying to be changed now that shouldn't be, and we're making sure we're addressing that on the legal front. So we've been very focused on some of that legal spending right now. As to whether something changes after next week, we'll see when new leadership comes in. But right now, that's not something that's being done in the moment.
We're speaking with Madison Gesiotto Gilbert. She's the national spokesperson for the RNC. And going back to the president's State of the Union address tonight, we're hearing that one of the themes that you hear from Joe Biden tonight is going to be, whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? You're either on my side or you're the enemy, right? And this has been this divisive, MAGA fascist Republicans, this will be the end of our democracy kind of hysterics we've heard from the political left. What should the Republican response be here in terms of finding this lane? I think voters do want some healing. They do want us to come together around good ideas. And I think this president is so divisive and so mean-spirited that there's a real opportunity for Republicans and President Trump, for that matter, to actually find a lane here and say, no, actually, we're the ones who can bring us together.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think people are craving unity in this country, not only within their individual parties, but across the aisle as well. We've seen a lot of divisiveness. And President Biden, coming in after the 2020 election, had promised he would be this president of unity. And that's the exact opposite of what he's been, of what his party has projected over the past 3 years. So I think moving forward, we have a huge opportunity as Republicans. And I talk all the time about, we cannot allow perfection to be the enemy of good in 2024 and moving forward in this party. We want to be an open doors party. We want to see our base grow bigger than ever before. That means that we're not all going to agree on 100% of things. But you know what? If you can at least agree with us maybe on one thing, like the economy or on immigration, we want to welcome you into the Republican Party, because I can tell you right now, we have a lot to get accomplished, and we don't have to work together on 100%, but we have to at least start working together on something. And the Democrats don't want to do that, and they've gone so far to the left, they're unrecognizable. You look back even at 2016, at Bernie Sanders' platform was considered radical. Now they're farther left than him on some of these issues. I've never seen anything like it.
Madison, we only have a few seconds left, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how Jen Psaki last night on MSNBC was sort of making fun of people who might be afraid of what's going on at the border and immigration, illegal immigration. What are your thoughts on that? As someone who's a spokeswoman, I was really shocked at the callousness and cruelty of that.
Here, take a listen to it real fast.
If you look at some of these exit polls, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue.
Yes.
Again, these could change in Virginia.
Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia. Very, very contested area.
Build the wall. What?
Laugh it up, ladies.
Yeah, this is exactly why they're so out of touch. We've seen this time and time again. We've seen it back when we talk about gun issues 10 years ago and the right to protect yourselves and your communities and your families. These people are not impacted by the issues. Yeah. They're very insulated from so much of this. Yeah. And that projects through in their messaging. They're very careless. And a lot of people across this country are suffering, whether it be from the fentanyl, 25 tons of fentanyl that has come over and killed young people in this country, killed many people in this country, or it had been the crime crisis that's happening right now. These people don't care about you, and that's why I encourage people to vote Republican this November.
Madison, Nikki Haley has suggested that she'll go back on her pledge, a pledge she made to the Republican National Committee, which, of course, as far as I'm concerned, is a pledge to Republican voters. She pledged that she would support the nominee. Now she's suggesting that she's not held by that pledge. What will the RNC do here? What kind of enforcement do you have? What will you do if she backs out on that pledge?
Well, at this point, if she does drop out of the race and backs out on the pledge, there's not much we can do because there isn't any more debates left. If someone were to have done that before the debates ended, things like that, we could have done a little bit more. But I'll tell you right now, we need unity in the party to win. We need everybody backing our candidates to win, and I really hope that she'll do her part to get us the Republican win in November.
Well said. And in that spirit, Madison, I want to say, I think it's fair to say that Michigan might be the most important state in the electoral map for the presidency. I know you went to the Ohio State University. For crying out loud, you were Miss Ohio. But this would be a great moment, Madison, for you to unify this country by disavowing the Buckeyes and give us a really hearty go blue here.
I'm with you. Go Ohio. Go Buckeyes, Madison.
Come on, Madison. We got we got an election to win.
I can't disavow the Bucks, but our cousin played on the Michigan football team this year, so we were doing a little go blue.
She's good.
Oh.
She's good.
Well, honestly, that's enough for me. Thank you, Madison. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
It's 7.
WMAL, making sense of the vote because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
This guy, the Cookie Monster. I mean, I like the googly eyes and all, but the dude's obsessed. Like 60 years on, he's just got to get over it. And I don't think that's the healthiest message for childhood obesity in this nation.
Why hasn't Michelle Obama gotten a hold of this?
Thank you very much. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Cookie Monster is a left-wing Democrat operative.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe Biden, of course, talking about shrinkflation. He's deflecting the negative ramifications of his economic policies. Everything costs more, or you're getting less product for your money. And, of course, he's blaming it on corporations. And Cookie Monster, being the good shill propagandist, is joining right in.
In fact, some of the small snack companies, you won't and think you won't even notice what they're doing. When they charge you just as much for the same size bag of potato chips, only has a hell of a lot fewer chips in it. I'll tell you who did notice, the Cookie Monster. He pointed out his cookies are getting smaller, paying the same price. I was stunned when I found out that's what actually happened.
Someone should tell him Cookie Monster is not real, by the way.
You think he knows?
He might name him the running mate. Anything's better than Kamala Harris right now.
Good point.
This came up at the press briefing as Karine Jean-Pierre was asked by a Fox Business Network reporter about the whole shrinkflation issue and Cookie Monster.
So Cookie Monster posted on X that shrinkflation is making his cookies smaller. The White House official Twitter or X responded that blaming shrinkflation basically on companies. So does the president again believe that shrinkflation and inflation are solely a company problem, or do his policies play any role in that?
So also for my tweet, I believe we said C is for consumers getting ripped off, right? And the president has called on companies to stop.
She doesn't have basic reading
Look,
comprehension.
fair enough for that question, but maybe a better question would have been, why is Sesame Street shilling for the administration when they get public funds from PBS?
That's right.
They are publicly funded. They have no business getting involved in this and defending the president.
Running interference for the president
PBS.
and participating in a narrative coming out of not just the White House,
Frank,
but the Biden campaign.
Look, I don't mean to be hating on Big Bird here,
I do.
but there's no reason to have Sesame Street anymore.
There isn't.
We don't need.
We have a free market. Sesame Street came when we had
options.
3
That's
networks.
Right. That's right.
There's no reason for Sesame Street.
There is 24-hour children's programming out there.
The best public television programming that you see right now is imported from the BBC.
That's right.
And there's a BBC channel. There's BBC streaming. You can see all that content outside of PBS.
You don't need it anymore.
No, you don't. And the fact that they are now operating
as
part
an
and parcel
adjunct
and
of the Democrat
hand in
Party.
glove with the campaign.
It's outrageous.
I know that, Mitt Romney was, it damaged him because he said he wanted to kill Big Bird. No, I don't think it did. And I think Republicans should actually grow some and take care of funding for PBS once and for all. This is a smoking gun, or for that matter, a smoking cookie.
That was nice.
That makes no sense, actually.
No, it doesn't.
No, I should have gone.
Tried.
I should have gone with the count, right? 1 leftist Marxist.
Very good.
2 leftist. Have you noticed Pete Buttigieg sounds like Kermit the Frog? The conspiracy runs deep.
He does.
It is 7:22.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
7:36 now on this super fast-paced Wednesday after Super Tuesday extravaganza on O'Connor and Company. Coming up at 8:05, Rich Masters, who's leading the effort to recall Charles Allen in the District of Columbia, will get his impression of the crime bill that got their vote last night in the District Council. Then at 8:35, our buddy Hogan Gidley will give us his analysis of the news that Nikki Haley will be dropping out of the race and what that means going forward for the Trump campaign. And, well, it looks like America got just what they wanted, Julie Gunlock.
Looks that way.
Trump, Biden, do. The difference here, though, is Joe Biden can't say, here's what I'll do when I'm president. We know what he'll do.
Yeah.
And this is really, it should be an evaluation on his performance, on his national security policies, on his disaster at the border. And, well, get ready. It's going to be a heck of an 8 month ahead of us here in this election, and it's going to be a heck of an 8 months for Bethany Mandel, who joins us now as an official candidate for Montgomery County School Board. Bethany, thanks for how's the campaign going so far? You got a write-up in Rolling Stone. I mean, all publicity is good publicity, right?
It's true. It's going well. I think people are excited to actually have a choice on the ballot in Montgomery County. Is something new and different.
I would like to, Frank, by the way, Bethany, we will take credit for everything that happens in your campaign. And listen,
all right, so start fundraising.
I don't think there are many morning radio shows who emphasize school board elections nearly as much as we have in the last 3 years. And the fact that Rolling Stone has decided to focus on your race, Bethany, is obviously well, it's also because the left hates you and they can't stand the fact that you have a voice out there. I guess that's partly your doing. Talk to me here about this latest issue in Montgomery County with regard to the Jewish Community Relations Council and the why is the terror attack in Israel going on over 150 days now with innocent people held hostage and being sexually assaulted and raped? Why is that an issue for the Montgomery County Education Association?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So the Montgomery County Education Association, which is basically the union, have decided to release sorry, I'm at the playground with a very cranky 2-year-old.
I love it.
It's all right. It's the best.
He got his butt wet on the slide. The Montgomery County Education Association decided that it is within their purview to vote for a ceasefire resolution because Lord knows that will bring Middle East peace if the Montgomery County, Maryland Teachers Union declares it.
Every morning, Netanyahu has his war council. And he says, folks, have we heard from the Montgomery County Education Association about our next step?
Yep. So this will be truly, truly life-changing. And the Jewish Community Relations Council, which are not known for being spicy, actually released a statement that they say good things. The misguided resolution will further inflame tensions and put Jewish students and educators at greater risk of anti-Semitic attacks. Yeah. Absolutely true. This has been an issue in Montgomery County Public Schools. This is part of why I'm running, because there have been all of these bias incidents. But then they throw some shade and they say, you know what? They edited their statement. Oh my goodness. I guess it was too much shade for them. I'm looking at it right now.
Hilarious. In real time, you went to read it and it's been shadow edited.
They edited it. Oh, I'm so disappointed. But too bad for them because I tweeted the pertinent quote. Yeah. But they said basically, of all of the issues in Montgomery County Public Schools, kids can't read. Maybe that's the bigger disaster here. Yeah. I'll find the quote, but I'm so disappointed that they took that out of their quote, and it was so uncharacteristic of them to actually throw so much shade. But I mean, this is the situation in Montgomery County Public Schools. It is not good. Kids are. Oh, here's the quote: If MCEA is looking to insert itself into a crisis, we recommend the union concentrate on the one in its own backyard.
Nice.
That's what they said, and then they lost their fire and they edited it.
Yeah, that's too bad. Maybe not entirely surprising, but isn't this Montgomery County School Board and Montgomery County Education Association? They're taking their cues from Randy Weingarten, who, when faced with terrible learning loss in this country, she flies off to Ukraine, and focuses on national issues that have nothing to do with the schools. So aren't they just sort of, again, taking their cues from her?
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. And this is why we have such an education crisis in this country, because so many local leaders step out of their lane, and it's the height of luxury beliefs that you think that you can focus on Ukraine or Gaza or anything when you are producing children who can't read and write. And I wonder, are they going to bring the same expertise they're bringing to the Middle East that they're bringing to the classroom? Because the union is not doing great in the classroom. That's what they've been trained to do, and it's not great. So why would we then give them more leeway to be like, yes, let's expand your purview to Middle East peace? No, why don't you work on the math and reading scores? Let's focus on what's important here, and it's the kids. And this is the problem with this entire county, that the kids have always come last, that the parents have always come last. And it's extremely frustrating that the union have decided to join in.
Bethany Mandel joins us. She's running for school board in Montgomery County. And Bethany, and by the way, boy, do we welcome all of her opponents on this program. Oh, we really want them to come on. We would love to interview them. We have many questions for them. Bethany, there are a lot of people listening who live in Montgomery County who have already decided that the school system is a disaster. They have their kids in private school. They have their homeschooling their children. Could you please deliver a message to them? Because sadly, I think when parents decide to do that, they remove themselves from the conversation. They think, well, I don't care. My kids are taken care of. I'd love for you to deliver a message to them as to why they have to vote in this election, why it does affect them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, if we ever want any charter schools in Montgomery County, it has to come from the school board. And we're not going to get that with the school board that we have now. But our property values are impacted by the fact that these schools are much less desirable. All of the crime that's happening across the county is happening because kids are coming out of the schools not educated in any way. They're not prepared in any way. And the violence, the crime, everything stems from that. We all live in this county and we all live together, and there's no opting out of society. And we need to make sure that kids are getting the education that they deserve, even if they don't have the privilege to opt out of the public schools.
That's well said. And we look forward to having you back. Bethany Mandel, along with, by the way, the delightful and effervescent Carol Markowitz. They are the co-authors of Stolen Youth, an incredibly important book about the last several years in America for our children. And she is the exact voice that's needed on the Montgomery County School Board. Thank you, Bethany. Get back to policing the slide and the swings now, please. Bethany4BOE.com.
We need donations to get the word out. Bethany4BOE.com.
Always be closing. Thank you, Bethany. I appreciate it. It's 7:49 on this very busy O'Connor and Company morning. Thank you for being part of this. We've got more here on the fallout from yesterday's Super Tuesday. The biggest news that we've been discussing since it broke about an hour and a half ago is that Nikki Haley will be officially dropping out for consideration for the Republican nomination. And she also said in this leak to the Wall Street Journal, confirmed now by CBS News, that she has no intention of endorsing Donald Trump at this time. And I jokingly said, how could she possibly endorse Trump? And you, of course, snapped me back into shape, reminding me that not only did Ted Cruz endorse the man who accused his father of killing Kennedy, but Hillary Clinton endorsed Barack Obama. Everyone says, oh, the Republicans are so divided. It's so nasty.
Called Joe Biden a racist and then ran.
And then ran as his running mate, for God's sake, and now says he's the greatest American politician of our time.
I think it's going to be the big reconciliation tour. I think Nikki's going to get behind the President Trump.
She can't be on the ticket. She can't be.
I don't think she'll be on the ticket. But I do think she's going to be gunning for a, maybe there'll be some candlelight awkward dinner, Romney-esque,
Well, I think they've got 48 hours to figure it out, because Friday is the day the No Labels ticket picks their candidate. And I guarantee you the conversations are happening there.
Maybe.
I don't know here's what Nikki Haley brings to the ticket. I don't think she brings a lot of Republican voters. And I don't think I know she's getting a lot of never Trump Democrat Biden voters. I don't think that comes with her either. What she brings is she will lay off. She will not run as a third party. She will not try to damage Trump, because I think she could damage Trump. I really do think she could damage Trump if she runs on No Labels or third party or something.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what that gets her, though, because the minute she goes to No Labels,
the same.
I think people will not forgive her for that.
So, meanwhile, the Daily Caller has a story here about a brand new campaign strategy for Joe Biden. It's called Go Haywire in Public.
Now, this is really interesting. You know, my youngest son, he you know, it's 3 boys, and he's the youngest, and they pick on him, and sometimes he loses his mind, and that's exactly what they want. And then they start laughing hysterically, and we try to coach him, like, don't go crazy, because that's what they want.
The headline here, Go Haywire, is kind of funny, but if you think about it, it's actually sort of evil genius stuff here. Basically, the idea is clearly they can't talk about the economy and jobs. This is the tough place that Biden's in. He's going. This is what Pete Buttigieg tried to do yesterday. The economy is great. The American people just don't know about it. They don't know about it because they see their bills.
Well, it's also not true.
They say, and it's not true because you never want to be in a place where you're telling the American people that they don't know what's going on in their own homes,
right?
With their own bank accounts, with their own grocery bill, their own gas pump, right? So instead, he can't talk about the economy. He can't talk about national security. He can't talk about peace in our time. He can't talk about immigration or the border. He can't talk about safety in the streets or crime. He can't talk about it. So what's he going to do? He's going to go out and
he's going to needle him.
He's going to taunt Trump.
That's right.
He's going to go after Trump and try to bait him into saying something and reacting off the cuff that will then be an ad saying, see, this is the problem with Trump. You can't trust him. You can't put him back in office.
Well, they also want, I think he is at this, I think this is a play for women, because women don't like that sort of aggressively unfriendly Trump persona, which some of us like it and find it kind of hilarious, but there's an awful lot of women who don't. And so I think he's going to needle him into being kind of more nasty.
So Trump, by the way, one other quick note here, and we've got Hogan Gidley joining us at 8:35. We'll run a lot of this stuff past him, but apparently Elon Musk met with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago over the weekend, and there's a lot of whispering. I mean, Musk has walked right up to the border of endorsing a Republican. He said he can't vote for Biden again, and he's not a Democrat anymore because he thinks the Democrats have gone so far to the left. He says he's never voted for a Republican. But do you think that would have an impact if Elon Musk endorsed Donald Trump?
I do. I think Elon Musk is a significant force culturally in this country, and it gives people sort of the forgiveness that they need.
Some certain people. I think if Musk does do that, I think it'll help with especially young men in their 20s.
Yeah.
He is an icon to them. And actually, if a Musk endorsement comes, a Joe Rogan endorsement could be, which I think actually makes even more of an impact because of his voice in the media.
It frankly makes me mad that there hasn't been one yet. I mean, it is obvious that Biden is destroying the country. And from looking at Elon Musk's tweets and Joe Rogan's interviews, it's clear that they are not on the side of Biden. And so this should just